So we're gonna scan the car. That's our number one step. We're gonna scan the car, and we're gonna pull for some codes, and we're gonna work our way up. So we do have the P0442. That has to do with the evap. I'm not worried about that. That should not interfere with any of the engine problems. I got the P0087, fuel rail pressure too low. So fuel rail pressure too low. So our mechanical pump is not working like it should. And then it's got the P050 Apple, cold start idle air control system performance. So that might have to do with the throttle body. I got here the P0300 engine misfire detected, and we got more right here. So I got P0301 cylinder 1 misfire detected, P0302 cylinder 2 misfire, P03 cylinder 3 misfire detected, and cylinder 4 P0303, P0304. Then we have more. We got P0306 cylinder misfire number 6. So basically all of them are misfiring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. I'm surprised we don't have a misfire for 5. And then we have the P0348 intake camshaft position sensor circuit high. So it says circuit sensor circuit high voltage bank 2. When it says high voltage, that means it's not picking up signal from the camshaft reluctor wheel. And then we have intake camshaft position sensor circuit low voltage bank 2. Okay. And then we also have intake camshaft position sensor circuit high voltage bank 2. So we have a problem with the intake camshaft position sensor, and we also have a problem with the exhaust camshaft position sensor. So obviously we have a timing chain issue, or anything that has to do with the timing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pull the valve covers and the front timing cover, and I'm going to inspect it and see what's going on with it. So I haven't started yet, so let me go ahead and start pulling out this engine. I'm not sure if you're interested in me recording everything from start, pulling this engine to the end. But anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull this engine, and either we need to do a timing chain or something else is bad in there. But all right, here we go, guys. Well, I did ended up pulling out the engine out of the vehicle. As you can see, there's no engine, no transmission. It's easy for me just to pull the complete unit, and this is the way you're supposed to remove your engine from this vehicle. I know a lot of people do it a different way, but this is the right way, and this is the way that I always choose to do it, because I'm not only doing the timing chain, but I'm doing more work on it, because I want to inspect, and I want to make sure that That's what we need on this one. And this is the engine already apart. I split it up from the transmission. To me, it's a lot easier just to pull the whole thing out. And I removed the oil pan. And as you can see, it's got a lot of wear in here. But I don't see anything that might concern me, you know, anything that, like, I don't see big chunks of metal. Even the pickup screen, it's got a little bit of carbon buildup stuck in there, but I don't see anything that might concern me. Pulled out one of the piston rod bearings, and it actually looks pretty good, normal wear, you know. This is the crankshaft. I don't see any major scoring or damage on the crankshaft. That looks pretty good, so I'm not gonna go any farther. This is why I like to pull these engines out this way. I already removed the timing chain system, and I had to remove one cylinder head. I turned in the timing chain because they still under warranty. I got all the new chains and guides and tensioners, so that's what I'm gonna do. But the problem here was that this engine, and I'm gonna show it to you, this engine was neglected. When I sold this car to this lady, the first year, this engine didn't even get an oil change in 1 year. And the reason why I know that is because a year later she came to me and she's like, I need an inspection, and the check engine light is on. And I noticed, because I'm the only one that, well, at least around here, I'm the only one that uses the long filters. This is the part number. You know, most people use the short filters, but I really like these filters because I feel like even if you take longer to do your oil changes, they don't get clogged that easily. And I think that's what saved this motor, because once your engine oil filter gets clogged, it's gonna destroy everything in here. It's gonna damage the bottom of the engine, the top of the engine, the timing system. It's just gonna make a mess. And as you can see, the camshafts, they're a little damage, you know, a little bit of scoring right there. That tells me right there that this engine was having a lubrication problem. And after a year of being driving it without oil change, the car started having problems. And a lot of these engines, they're gonna give you a lot of problems because of the oil. And so I did the oil change. The car ran fine. It was working fine. 6 months later, I did the oil change, right? And 6 months later, she comes back and started having problems with the timing system. I always recommend people, if you own one of these engines, just do the 3,000 mile or 3 month, whichever comes first, service intervals, because a lot of people don't realize this. These engines have a lot of components that need to have clean oil. And I mean, like, they have, you know, hydraulic solenoids. They have hydraulic tensioners, which are like this, something like this. They have hydraulic tensioners. They have the BBT sprockets right there that they need clean oil. They have the hydraulic lifters on the head. You know, So the engine oil is not only being used for lubrication, but it's also being used as a hydraulic fluid in these engines. And that's why whenever you neglect these engines, they're gonna start giving you a lot of problems on the timing chain side, because just about everything is hydraulic and it has to have clean and fresh oil. So that's why I always recommend 3,000 miles or 3 months, whichever comes first. So I'm gonna help this lady out. This is a job that you don't want to do because it takes a lot of hours. It takes a long time, and I mean, you have to charge pretty good amount of money in order for you to make money on this deal. But when the timing chain broke, it hit these two valves and it bent the two valves. I already inspected everything else. All of the valves are good. I checked the piston. It does have some marks on it, but I don't see the piston being damaged. Or actually, this is the piston right here. Yeah, no, this is the piston. So maybe a good idea to pull it out and inspect it. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clean all this right here. I'm gonna give it a good wash, and I'm gonna start putting everything back together. So yeah, that's a good idea. This is the piston that got hit, so I'm gonna pull it out, and I'm gonna make sure that's nothing is bent or broken or any seized rings or anything. But let me go ahead and clean this out, and I'll come back and show you how to test it, because I already did the testing and everything, and everything was fine. So but let me clean up, and I'll be right there with you. I am finished cleaning the cylinder head. It wasn't too bad. I already inspected the cylinder head, and I don't see no major damage. A little bit of wear here, you know, a little bit of wear, but that's just normal wear. I don't see any damage. I did got the I got the two valves replaced, and I need 2 new rollers. They split. So we're gonna need 2 new rollers. I got the 2 new valves right here. This is the cylinder that was losing compression right here. I've tested the rest of them, and the rest of them were fine. So I'm getting ready to install the cylinder head. I did end up pulling out this piston right here, number 2 piston. And I cleaned that up just for visual inspection, and I can see the 2 marks right here where the valve hit. You can see right here. But the piston seems fine. You know, the rod is not bent. And this is what I want to point out to you guys. That's just normal wear right there. But see, this bearing is made out of aluminum. Back in the days, they used to make the bearings. The bearings used to be made of Babbitt, and Babbitt it's a soft metal, but it's not as soft as the aluminum. This is the bottom half. You can see wear right there, you know, and most of it is because lack of maintenance. But I don't see anything that might concern me, you know. I don't see no damage. And the rings, if you're going this far, make sure the rings are free. A lot of times, if the valves hit the pistons, the lands right here, they're gonna get tight, they're gonna bend, and the piston rings will seize. So if you already went this far, check the rings, the oil rings, and make sure they're not full of carbon. Make sure they're not seized. And like I said, if you went this far to pull out of the pistons, it'll probably be worth to put new rings in it. That's just normal wear right there. You know, there's nothing damaged in here. This is what you're gonna see. Even if you put new pistons, they're gonna start wearing out from the skirts. But it's got a little bit of scratches right here. But that has to do also with the metal and the fluid. This is why it's very important. This is why it's very important to keep up with the maintenance with these vehicles, guys. I'm finished with the block right here. I cleaned up the, I did pressure wash this block. If you're gonna pressure wash the engine, make sure you blow it off with compressed air. Make sure you blew off all the water from the threads, you know, where all the bolts are gonna go. Make sure you blew all the water out. And let me see. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see. This is piston number 2. I don't see any damage, you know. So I cleaned this up. It looks like a valve hit right there. I didn't even check that one. You know what? I'm gonna replace that one too. Because sometimes if they bend slightly, and even they will even pass the compression check, compression test. They will pass the compression test, and but whenever you going to start up the car, that cylinder might misfire. So I didn't even notice that. You know, it did hit the piston too. Let me see. Right there. Right there, you can tell it hit the piston. So you know what? Just to make sure, I'm gonna install new valves on that cylinder too. I think I got a couple of more valves. It's better to do it now than later on find out that that cylinder is misfiring. And like I said, I inspected the cylinder head. I didn't see anything wrong with it. And when I don't know if you're gonna be able to see. It's kind of hard to see. Let me see. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see, but down there, you can see a little bit of carbon buildup. Right there, that's the valves. I tried the pressure washing. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. I tried to pressure wash it, and a lot of it came off. You know, this is pretty bad, and you're gonna get this buildup, this carbon buildup, because if you like to sit in the car with your, if you like sitting in the car for hours with the AC on, you're gonna get a lot of deposits on your intake valves. That's quite a bit. And also, if you don't change your fluid regularly, eventually that engine oil, it just evaporates. It'll evaporate and it'll go through the intake. It'll come out from the PCV, and it'll go into the intake, and it'll start burning the oil faster. So just keep in mind, please just do your oil change. That way you don't run into this problem. And if you can, use the long filters, because these engines, they're going to they're gonna release a lot of metal particles, because there's always going to be wear. They're made out of aluminum, but the block is made, The block is made of aluminum. The cylinder heads are made of aluminum. The bearings are made of aluminum. There's no camshaft bearings. It's just made of aluminum. So it's gonna wear. It's gonna wear. There's always gonna be fine metal in it. And once the filter gets clogged, then that's when this engines are gonna start coming apart. So what I'm gonna do is my crankshaft. It looks really good. The crankshaft looks really good. There's no scores or anything. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna install the oil pan. I'm gonna install the oil pan, and I'm gonna sit this engine straight up. I'm gonna change the other two valves as well, and I'm gonna sit this straight up and install the head. That way we can start installing the timing chain. Remember, this car came in for a timing chain issue. And this is one of the reasons why I like to pull the engine, because I always inspect the cylinders, the valves, and the bottom of the engine. That way, if there's a problem, you can probably address it now, instead of doing all this work, installing the timing chain, installing the engine, and later on find out that you have a misfire because a couple of valves not sitting properly, or the engine had too much wear, the bearings were wore out, and after like a couple of days or a week, the engine started knocking. So this is why I do it this way, because I want to prevent those problems. And right now that everything's apart, I can catch it. So let me go ahead and start putting everything back together, and I'm gonna install the two valves again on cylinder 2, and we go from there. I'll be right there. All right, guys, I'm pretty much finished cleaning the cylinder head. I had to get 6 new valves, intake valves. I didn't realize all these fuels coming. Hold on. There's a lot of fuel coming out of here. At first, I didn't. This is the cylinder that wasn't holding compression, and as you can see, the valves, the intake valves, collide with the pistons. Nothing is damaged. Everything seems good. I pulled that piston to make sure it was fine. And when I was filming earlier, I noticed that this piston hit the valves too, and then this piston touched the valves. And they don't seem bad. They were holding pressure. These two are really bent. I don't know if you're able to see it. It's like really bent. These two are bad for sure. There was no compression on cylinder number 2. This is 246. 4-6 were fine. But from my previous experience, because I had a problem like this before, the timing chain did not break, but it jumped time on bank 1. So it was on the on that bank. That bank is fine. There was no issues with that bank. But on another job that I did, the timing chain jumped time on bank 1, and same thing. It hit the pistons. All 6 valves hit the pistons. And when I went to do a compression test and a cylinder leak down test, it passed the test. It passed both of the tests, but it was leaking a little bit of air. You know, it was up to specs, but it was leaking a little bit of air on the intake valve. So I'm like, what the heck? I'll just put it all back together like that. No big deal. I'm trying to share my experiences with you, the good ones and the bad ones, because I had a lot of good experiences with this engines, but I had a lot of bad experiences with this engine too. So, and I just want to share that with you. So if you're watching this video, you know what to do and what not to do, because if you don't get this right the first time, the second time you're gonna end up paying yourself, because last time I didn't pay much attention to it, and I went ahead, I put the engine back together, I did the timing chain, and I was like, yeah, it's gonna be okay. I put the engine back in the car. Next thing I know, I got a misfire. The car ran fine, high RPM, it ran fine, no problems, no issues, no misfiring. But when you got to the light, that's when it started misfire on low RPMs. So, like I said, these two cylinders were holding compression fine. I wasn't gonna replace the valves, but once I saw the marks on pistons, I was like, hell no, I better replace all 6 valves, because I don't want to take a chance. You know, this job is really hard. It takes a lot of hours, labor hours, you know, and this is a type of job that you don't want to do again. This car came in for a timing chain issue, and now we all past that, you know. I actually have more problems than what I expected. I wasn't expecting to work on this car this much, but it is what it is. You know, I gotta fix it. I gotta make it run right, and I gotta make sure you know, this engine doesn't come back for any warranty. So I'm taking all the steps to make sure that this engine doesn't come back. You know, so that's why I decided I replaced the valves. And this is the part number. I'm using Melling V0301. That's what I'm using. And if you're gonna use new valves, even though they're new, you have to know how to seat them. I do have a video how to seat them, and you can go to my channel, and I think there's a short or a video how to seat the valves. Well, I think there's a short and a video how to seat the valves. And you might want to check that one out. Right now, I clean the surfaces. I did not send this cylinder head to the machine shop. I know I might catch a lot of criticism about it, but you don't need to. If your engine overheated and your cylinder head is warped, I will say yes, send it to the machine shop and have them resurface the face and seat the valves. Let them do that themselves. But right now, that's not the case on this engine. I removed the cylinder head because I was supposed to replace these 2 valves, but I ended up replacing all. And as you can see, they full of carbon, you know. A lot of times, if you're gonna reuse these valves, you probably want to clean all this carbon. This is what breaks off on a lot of vehicles. These valves will caked up with a lot of carbon buildup, and that's normal. But yeah, you gotta change your oil frequently. Let me stop you right there. I'll be right back. Okie dokie, so I'm pretty much finished with the cylinder head. I seat the valves already. I got me a new gasket, and I cleaned the surface of the cylinder head. I ended up using this tool, you know, and I just all I did is I just cleaned the oil gasket. that was stuck in there. It wasn't really that bad. I replaced this head gaskets like 2 years ago on this engine. There was actually nothing wrong with it, but I like this style right here because this is a Velcro, and it's a multi-layer gasket. And I really like, I've been using this. I think this is like the old style and this is like the new style. I use both, but I really like this one right here. I've never had any issues. I don't know if they're not making them anymore, and I'm not able to reuse it, so they're gonna discard that. Same thing with the block. I cleaned the block, you know, and I made sure that everything was clean, free of debris and free of grease or dirt. When I wash the block, I wash these holes right here where you cylinder head bolts going in, and I wash them and I load off the dirt or oil or grease or whatever what's in there. I blow it off really good. I wasn't gonna change all 6 valves, but I did ended up changing them. These two, let me see. These two were really bent. But after I was filming, I noticed that the piston has some marks. These 2 pistons too, and I had a bad experience with another engine like this. The timing chain jumped like 1 or 2 teeth, I think, and it hit the pistons, and the valves were slightly bent, and I didn't think much of it. You know, it passed the compression test and it passed the cylinder leak down test, and I put it all back together. But little that I know, like it was misfiring, so I ended up doing the job again. So this time I'm replacing them. They don't seem bad. They passed the compression test and they passed the cylinder leak down test. But since they touched the piston, for me it's a must. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna sit the head, torque it down to like 40 pounds. And I know I'm gonna get a little bit of heat on this one. I'm reusing the head bolts. And I know a lot of people are gonna say, the book says do not reuse the head bolts. I know what the book says. The book says also the torque specs that I'm using are different than what the book says. And I've been called out on it too, and I know what the book says, but the reason why I don't do like the book says is because I don't know, maybe I'm doing it wrong, but like on 3 different engines, I broke a bolt, and it was a brand new bolt, and I broke it inside the block. If you break a bolt, there's no way getting it out. It's like way down there, so you pretty much ruin the block. And so that's why I decided not to do it like the book says. I do it this way. As you can see, this engine came back, but it didn't come back because of the head bolts or the head gasket. It came back because this lady drove this car without replacing the oil for like a whole year. And she finally got an oil change done, and then she drove another 6 months without doing an oil change, and she started having all kinds of issues to where like the timing chain on this side broke, and it went out of time, and the pistons hit the valves. So I'm trying to help her out. It's been about 2 years since I built this engine, but that's a big no-no. I mean, in order for this engine to run very good. You have to do at least 3 or 4 oil changes in a year. You know, every 3,000 miles, every 3 months, whichever comes first. Just go ahead and do an oil change. And trust me, yes, a lot of people say that those engines are horrible because they're going to give you a lot of timing chain problems, and it is true. They're going to give you a lot of timing chain problems if you don't change the oil regularly. And it's cheaper to change the oil than to try to repair these engines. I had engines that, you know, they went like 200,000 miles without having any issues after being repaired, but that's with proper maintenance. Anyway, I think I'm just talking too much. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna install the head. I got my dowels lined up, the cylinder head prepped, clean. So I'm just gonna sink the cylinder head and I'm gonna start torquing it down to 40 foot-pounds. The reason why I'm doing 40 foot-pounds is because I don't want to crush this gasket yet. And once it's tight, once it's torqued down to 40 foot-pounds, I'm gonna check it for. I'm gonna do a cylinder split down test. Be careful when handling. Be careful when handling this cylinder heads. They are really sharp. I cut myself a few times with them. So just be careful. Oh, and one more thing. I always clean them. I clean the threads, make sure the threads are not damaged, and then just dip them. I'm gonna torque these down wet, so just dip them in a little bit of oil. Not a lot of oil. You don't want to put a lot of oil in here, so you just want to put a little bit of oil on the tip. Oh, I didn't even. I wasn't even ready. Hold on right there. Alright, so I got a little bit of motor oil, and we're just gonna dip just a little bit. You don't need much. Like I said, and like right here on this side of the head, I'm gonna put a little bit of oil. Just gonna dip it in there, and I'm gonna put a little oil right there. Same thing over here. Put a little bit of oil. So what I'm gonna tell this lady is, if she drives the car again for a whole year without changing the oil, I'm not gonna be able to help her out anymore. Because this kind of work takes a lot of hours, takes a lot of time, takes a lot of money. And I just can't be doing this kind of work, you know, because I got a lot of other projects out there that I need to be working on. And right now I can't because I'm tied up on this project. And don't worry about it, this has no torque. It's like 20 foot-pounds. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna torque it and test it and make sure, because I wanna make sure that my intake valves are not leaking. So we're gonna do 20 foot-pounds first, and then we're gonna increase the torque 10 pounds at a time. Excuse me. This is why I like to pull the whole engine and just work it on the bench, because I normally remove the oil pan on all of these engines and I inspect them, and I just want to make sure that if you're gonna replace the timing chain, because there's a reason why the timing chain went out. It didn't just go out just because he gave up the ghost. It has a lot to do with maintenance. So if it's having time chain issues, that means lack of maintenance. If there's lack of maintenance, there could be a possibility that something else is damaged or broken. So whenever you're gonna do one of these, just cover your butt, you know, inspect everything. I always remove the oil pan and inspect the bottom of the pan and inspect the bearings. If I don't see any fine metal or chunks of metal or something that's not supposed to be in here, then I continue to test these engines, and I'll make sure that there's no bent valves or valves leaking, and I'll go ahead and put the timing chain. So I increased my torque to 30 foot-pounds. And I think somebody asked me, why you're not using a engine stand? And to me, it's just easier just to manhandle this thing on the bench. Yeah, it's easier for me to just do it on the table. Okay, so 30, so I'm gonna go to 40 PSI now. So far the bolts feel pretty good. running fine. Okay, so we got 40 pounds. Okay, so that's all we need for now. So we're gonna do our test. I removed the piston number 2 to inspect it, make sure that there was no bent piston rod, make sure that there was no piston damage. You know, the lands. I wanted to make sure that the pistons, the piston rings were free. I cleaned the piston and I put it all back together and I installed it again. And if you're wondering what the specs are, this is the connecting rod. It says the first pass is 22 foot-pounds, the second pass back to 0, third pass is 18 foot-pounds, and then the final pass is 110 degrees. I don't do 110 degrees at once. What I do, I just divide it in half and I do 55, 55, 55, and then I come back and do another 55, 55, and that'll give you 110 degrees. Also, if you're gonna install the rings, and this is what they asking you to do. That's the oil control ring right here. So one of the gaps is gonna go towards the back of the piston ring, and then this is the suspender, this is the upper oil control ring, and this is the lower control ring, oil control ring. So as you can see, they stagger. Yeah, you don't want to leave the gaps all on one spot. So you want to stagger. One, the spender goes back here, and then the other two goes to the 1 o'clock and the 5 o'clock position. And then the second ring is gonna go at 12 o'clock. I mean, it depends how you're looking at it, right? But always stagger your, and the top ring goes on the 180 degrees away from the second ring. So you kind of see the picture, right? That's pretty much what they want you to do on the piston rings. Don't put all the gaps on one side, otherwise it's gonna lose compression. Okay, now let me grab my, it's been raining here and there's a lot of mosquitoes. Okay, I gotta grab my tools. I don't know what I did with them, but we're gonna leak down. We're gonna do a cylinder leak down test. You know what, I didn't even turn on the compressor, so I'm gonna put you on a pause. I'll be right back. All right, so I got my tools, compressor filled up, and this one leaks, but I cannot find my other one. I don't know what I did with it, but we're gonna use this for now. Okay, so we had a problem with this cylinder right here. This was the one that was it was leaking pretty bad. I don't think I showed you. I don't think I filmed it. But I was trying to rush, hurry up and get this job done, but and that's why I didn't film a lot of things. But it's a good opportunity to just show you what I found, and I'm trying to show you how to fix it. Okay, so this is my cylinder leak down test gauges. You know, we using a little over 100 pounds. My regulator broke, so this is more like 130 pounds of air. And we want to be here on set or the green. Right now, as you can see, it's pass. But we just want to make sure that it's holding pressure. So right now I'm like way past the set mark, so that means our cylinder is holding compression. Now you can hear it's leaking, but it's gonna leak at the bottom because of the piston rings. They're not sealing right just yet, because you know, when the car gets up to temperature, the piston rings will expand and that will make a better seal. So right now they're not sealing properly, but that's fine. That's an indication. As long as you're not dropping to the yellow, then yeah, you should be fine. And what you want to do is you want to check here. Like, I'm leaking a little bit. And you want to check your exhaust valves. Even if your exhaust valves are leaking, you know, a little bit, it'll be all right, as long as you're holding enough pressure in there. So, and if you finish setting up the head, cylinder head, and the intake valves are leaking more than what they're supposed to, all you can do is, before you start removing the head again, you know, tap it and see if that helps. And it feels pretty good. So we're gonna move on to the next cylinder. And if you wanna see how I seat the valves myself, you know, I think there's a video. There's a video that I made on my account. Same thing again, we passed the set mark, so we're fine. This is like almost perfect. And our exhaust valves are not leaking at all. I like that outcome. Let me move on to the next one. So we're still way past the set mark, so that means it's holding pretty good. And like I said, I mean, they're always gonna leak a little bit. I think we're good there. So I'm just gonna finish torquing. I'm gonna finish torquing all these bolts. I'm gonna go all the way to 80 foot-pounds. And the last two right here, let me see. I always forget them two bolts right there, but let me see. I think I got it somewhere right here. It's like 13 foot-pounds and like 50 degrees, something like that. I don't remember. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, and the first pass is 11 foot-pounds, and the second pass is gonna be 75 degrees. Okay, so the 13 millimeters right here is 11 foot-pounds and then 75 degrees. And these are 22 foot-pounds, and then the second pass is 150 degrees. But like I say, I don't like doing that, so I'll just do it my way, and I haven't had any head gasket issues so far, you know. Okay, let me go get my other torque wrench. So now we're gonna go to 50. We stop at 40, so we're gonna go to 50 foot-pounds. If you're wondering, let me go get a pen and paper. So I don't think you're not able to see it, but this is your cylinder head, right? This is your cylinder head, and we're pointing this way. And this is the front, and then we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. And all I'm doing is I'm starting right here, and then I'm going down, and then I go to this one, I go to this one, then I'll jump to this one, I'll come back to this one, and I'm gonna jump all the way over here, and I'm gonna finish right here. So this is basically what I'm doing. I'm starting right here, and I'm going from inside to outside, and I finish right here. And I'm doing 10 pounds increments every pass until I reach the 80. That way you kind of have a visual of what I'm doing. I don't think you ever see exactly what I'm doing with the camera fixed over here. Okay, so this is my starting point right here. We're gonna do 50. 50. Once you get to 80, it's kind of hard to torque them on the sitting over here on the bench. So far so good. I like it. And they're going in easily. I shouldn't speak wait until I'm done. But so far we got 50 pounds and they are going easy. I don't hear any crackling. If you start to feel like the bolt is not turning, or starts cracking, or it feels like it's gonna break, then you may wanna stop and get new bolts. Okay, so we're gonna go 60. 60. Oh, I'm just gonna go around again, make sure they'll have 60. And then we're gonna go to 70. Okay, now we're gonna go to 70. It's my starting point. Oh God. I hate it when they do that. You know, it feels like it doesn't want to get tight and it just keeps spinning. Just double check, make sure they'll have 70. Yep. Yep. Now we're gonna go to 80, and that's gonna be our final pass. And once I'm done torquing the head, I gotta clean the, I'm gonna polish the camshafts. The ones on this side seem like they suffer a little bit more. The ones on that side are seem fine, but I'm gonna go ahead and polish the camshafts, and I'm gonna prep everything and clean everything in here in the front, and we're gonna start doing the timing chain. Well, I don't think I need to show you how to clean it or anything, or I don't know. You let me know if you wanna see a video. I think I actually got a video for cleaning the. Oh shit. Oh shit. Keeps on turning 77. You don't want to just yank it and pull hard on it. That might pop the bolt or the bolt. Ay, oh, shit. This thing is just turning. Come on. Oh no, shit. 79.9. Come on. 79.9. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'll come back to it. Oh shit. Okay. Oh shit. This one is just turning. Kind of stop right there. Oh shit. Come on. See, that's 80. Let me just make sure I got 80 on all of them. But yeah, it feels like it wants to turn. I think this one is the one that I couldn't get to. It's kind of scary. It's kind of scary because you don't want to break a bolt. Okay, we got 80 on all of them, and that completes our torquing sequence. And some of the rollers broke. This one's are the one that got hit pretty bad, pretty hard, and bent the valves. So we're gonna get new rollers for this side, at least for all 6 intake valves. And always check them, always inspect them, you know. They should be freely, they should turn freely. And if you hear like a noise in them, just replace them. So let me do the 13 millimeters. So how much did I say? I already forgot. 11 foot-pounds. I think I said 11 foot-pounds and 75 degrees. I got a really bad memory, guys. That's why I got all these notes right here. Yeah, I think it was 11 degrees and 70 foot-pounds. I don't know what I do. Yeah, 11 foot-pounds, 75 degrees. So we're gonna set our torque wrench. And these don't matter, you can put them dry. You put them in dry. Okay, so we're gonna set this torque wrench. To 11 foot-pounds. I always go a little bit over. You know, 15 and 75 degrees. Yeah, I'm just gonna do 15 and 75 degrees. Oh shit. Let me go back. I gotta do foot-pounds first. Oh, they're just spin. Yeah, that's why they only tell you to do 11. Okay, we're gonna do 11. 11, and then we're gonna go 75 degrees. Okay, 75, which is equivalent to 23 foot-pounds. Yeah, 23 foot-pounds. And that concludes our cylinder head. Now we're gonna do our timing chain, but let me get all this set up right here, at least clean it up and get it set up. I'll show you how to do it, and I'll come back to it. All right, guys, I'm back. I got everything cleaned up. Not necessarily cleaned up, but I polished the camshaft, the camshaft lobes, and notice that I installed everything, and I got this finger tight. I didn't tighten the camshaft bearings yet, camshaft caps. I haven't tightened them yet. They're finger tight, all of them, because this is gonna give me a little leverage to when I'm installing the timing chains. Notice that I left these marks up. Like, see, this is pointing this way and this is pointing that direction. That way I don't have to, because if I would have left this mark over here, I would have to turn the camshaft, and then if it's already bolted in, when you start turning it, it's gonna move the valves, and you probably don't want to do that. So this way, there's no tension on the valves. Even if I move them, you know, there's not going to be a lot of tension on the valves, and this is gonna make it easier for us to do the timing chain. On this side too, I left this mark up here and this one pointing this way. And I already marked everything, my idlers. At this point, the crankshaft, I mean, you can turn the crankshaft on any direction. There's no problem, you know. Some people ask me, what if I'm 180 degrees off? You're not gonna be able to be 180 degrees off, because to be honest, nothing will line up if you are 180 degrees off. So don't worry about it. Don't worry too much about where number one piston, because somebody asked me one time, number one piston, how do I know where number one piston is? And usually this mark and this mark lining up, that's number one piston all the way to the top. But on this engine it's a little different, you know, so don't worry about where piston one is, because we're gonna turn the crankshaft, so it doesn't really matter. So I'm gonna start on this side. I got all my timing chains ready. It's got the two dart links and the gold link. The gold link is gonna go in here. You should be able to see it through this hole right here. See, that makes it a little easier to install the timing chain. So we are on the marks right here, and over here. It's been a little while since I did this, so there you go. So make sure you gold link. You should be able to see it through here. If you don't see it through here, that means you're not lined up. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna install this guide right here first. Install this guide. Just like that. And we're gonna install our tensioner. Don't forget your gasket. I have disassembled engines and people forget to install the gaskets. I just wanted to point something out. It just came to my mind. Like if you're replacing the cylinder head because the engine overheated, you're gonna have to send the cylinder head to the machine shop so that way they can resurface it, seat the valves, and check them for cracks. I replaced the only reason why I removed the cylinder head is because it had bent valves. There was not any other damage. There was nothing wrong with the head itself. It was just the valves. So that's why I removed the cylinder head. But if in your case, you're replacing it because the car got hot, yeah, I most definitely recommend you to take it to a machine shop. Okay, so we're just gonna double check right here. We are on time here, and we are on time here, and we are on time here. This is a new pump. I installed a new pump 2 years ago, and this came with it already. So a lot of I think a lot of videos, so they don't recommend you to remove this piece out of here because there's no gasket behind this pump. You know, you gotta torque this pump right, and if you don't know how to torque this pump, say you over torque over here and not over here, the pump is not gonna sit right, and it's gonna start sucking air through here, and it's gonna start the engine from lubrication. So that's why a lot of people don't recommend to mess with this right here. I don't want to mess with it because I know it's brand new. Let me see. And I think I lost it. I'm not right here. Let me just show you. Let me just show you how to do it that way. Why not? Fuck it. Let's do it. Yeah, most places, most videos, even the, I think the GN manual tells you not to remove it. We're not gonna torque anything yet. I'm gonna leave that at the end. I'll show you how to torque everything. Remember, this impact has no torque, so don't try to impact everything with the 1/2 inch or 3/8 high output input range. Otherwise, you're gonna damage something. So I like to use this one because it has no torque. I think the most I can get is like 18 pounds. All right, so moving on. We're going to install this middle chain. It's the one with the 3 gold links. Okay. So I'm gonna install it here, here. Here. Coolant keeps dripping out of here, which is normal. It's gonna be coolant dripping out of here. Once you finish putting your timing cover, you're gonna have to drain. Don't forget to drain that coolant that's getting in there. Otherwise, it's gonna mix with the engine oil. So before you fill up with oil, make sure you pull this plug out and let the coolant out. There's still gonna be a little bit in there, but not as much. So we're going to we're gonna go to the next this is a Chloe's kit, and I don't know, I'm starting to think that maybe there's a defect on this timing chain kit, because this chain right here broke, and I just had another guy call me that I did a timing chain on his Buick like a 1.5 years ago, and he has the same codes, and I believe it's for this bank. So I'm thinking over here. I don't know, there might be a defect with this timing chain, because there's no way that two of them, you know, broke the same way. You know, there's no way. So I don't know, maybe when I bought those chains I got a bad batch or something. But if you do OEM, if you go and do OEM, because I pay I think like $400 for the whole kit, but OEM is like you gotta buy piece by piece, and you probably gonna end up paying 600, 700 bucks. Which if it's your car for you, I mean, it'll be best if you go with the OEM. I mean, if you don't mind paying that price, you know. But right now, warranty the timing chain. I don't think it should have failed like that prematurely. I'm thinking it has to do with not changing the oil regularly. So this should have never happened. Actually, I shouldn't even be here working on this thing. Okay, so we're gonna double check our marks. See, we're on time right here, we're on time right here, we are on time right here. I don't know if you're able to see it. On this sprocket right here, there's a dot, and it's lining up with this silver link, and with the mark on the pump, and this is lining up over here. So we are good on time. I'm about to turn this crankshaft, but before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and tighten those bolts, the caps right here, camshaft caps right here. And we're gonna do 89 inch pounds. Notice that I said inch pounds, not foot pounds. They don't need that much torque. You know, I do 89, I tighten everything to 89, and then I go to 100 inch pounds and re-torque everything. 89 inch pounds to 100 inch pounds is really not much of a difference, so don't worry about it. So we're just gonna go ahead and tighten this up. If you went as far as removing the caps to remove the rollers, notice that they have direction. See, I think I got one in here. As you can see right there, they are directional, so just make sure this is 6 intake, and it's gonna be facing that way. So make sure you install them back in their proper position, or the right spot. You know, 6I, so that means 6 intakes. So it'll be on the intake side. That's 2, 4, 6. So this one will go right here, and then so forth. 2 intake, 4 intake, 6 intake, 2 exhaust, 4 exhaust, 6 exhaust, and 8 exhaust. Okay, let me go ahead and start working over here. We're gonna torque these caps. If I can find my, oh, that's right. And notice that I'm using a 5/16. It calls for an 8, but I I noticed that the 8mm always trips the bolts. So that's 89 inch-pounds. And if you're wondering how many pounds that is the equivalent to, let me see, 10 newton meters, 102 kilo, whatever, 7.4 foot-pounds. So when I go to 100, it'll be like 7 point something, 7.8 maybe. So we're gonna do 89 inch-pound. And I'm gonna start torquing from inside out. Ah! We went too hard on it. Okay. 89. Same thing over here. 89. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna bump it up a notch to 100 inch-pounds. And if you're wondering what 100 inch-pounds is equivalent to, that'll be 8 foot-pounds. So really not that much of a difference. I know the book says 89 inch-pounds, but I don't know. I always do it like this. Maybe because I'm always paranoid about something coming out loose when you start the engine. So that's why I always double check my work. Double check, triple check, or quadruple check your work if you can, because this is a lot of work and you don't really want to do this job again. I don't want to do this job again. So that's torque to specs. Now we're gonna turn the crankshaft, and we're gonna turn this mark right here. We're gonna turn it to over here. This is like the 9 o'clock position. And this is the reason why you're not gonna be able to, you cannot be 180 degrees, because otherwise none of the marks are gonna fall in place. Holy moly, that's kind of hard. Oh, there it goes. Okay. We're right there. And now it's time to install our secondary chain. Same thing, I already got the dots lined up. So this is gonna make it a little bit easier on us. And there's a hole right here, and this gold link has to line up with this hole. And on this side it's a little tricky because every time you try to put these guide over here, it kind of wants to jump time. So just be careful on this side. Tensioner. Ooh, it's getting late in here. And I am definitely tired. I've been messing with this engine for a couple of days and I'm just kind of tired. I'm tired and aggravated. Because this should have never had happened, but it did, and now I'm stuck with it. Okay, so next we're gonna do this guide on this side, and the way I do it, I make sure I put one bolt in, you know, just put one bolt in. I had a 3.6 that came back, and I sold that car like 3.5 years ago. And this couple maintained their car. I think I sold it like right after the pandemic. Yeah, it was right after the pandemic, around 2020, somewhere around there. Not too long ago, like maybe a couple of months ago, it came back with a misfire. And when I first looked at it, nothing seemed to be out of place. I used Chloe's again, and nothing seemed to be out of place. But I noticed one thing. On this side, this tensioner was all the way out. It extended all the way out, and on this side too, this tensioner were extended all the way out. So throughout the time, the chains are gonna stretch. I didn't want to believe it, but they do stretch. And that's just any metal, you know, with time and wear, these chains are gonna stretch. And so there were no broken parts. There was like this guy, he maintained his vehicle properly, and they do drive a lot. They go to Mexico like maybe once a week. They always go to Mexico. They take vacations over there. So yeah, they put quite a bit of miles on that vehicle in like 3.5 years, and they asked me to fix it for them. I did fix it for them. I just replaced the timing chain. I think it had like 150 when I sold it to them, or 130, and it was already like over 200,000 miles. So it was a good buy for them. They maintained their vehicle like they're supposed to, and it lasted them for a while. You know, it lasted them for a good while, and they put a lot of miles on that vehicle. But anyway, so this is the problem right here, and just make sure when you're gonna push this, make sure this doesn't jump time, and sometimes it's just kind of hard. lining up. There. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna torque all of these. We're gonna torque all of these 10 millimeter bolts. We're gonna torque them to 18 foot-pounds. The book calls for 18, and a lot of the times I do 20. Let's try 18. Feels good. Okay, and these two bolts, we're gonna torque them to 18 foot-pounds as well. And do not over torque them. And torque them evenly. There, so the finalize our torquing specs. And same thing on this side. I'm gonna do the same thing on this side, just the way I did it on that side. I'm not gonna do it on camera because I think this video is getting way too long. So right now we got our timing marks right here, correct. We got them on the right spot. So always double check, triple check, quadruple check before you start pulling these pins right here. So we're on time, we're on time. We are on time right here. We are on time. We are on time. We are on time right here. We are on time right here. And we are on time right here. So that's it. And there you have it. Yeah, there you have it, guys. That's it for now, guys. I'm just gonna put the timing chain cover back on. New gaskets, new seals, valve covers. I'm gonna install the valve covers, and I'm gonna put together the transmission, put them all together, and drop them as one whole assembly. And that's it. I hope you guys like this video, and I hope this helped you to you know, tackle this this job. It's a pretty big job, and takes a lot of time, a lot of hours of labor, and it takes quite a bit of money too to get done. So if you're running into these engines, and this is what I do, you don't have to do it, but if I pull the oil pan and I notice there's a lot of metal or parts that are not supposed to be there, I always remove the bearings, you know, the camshaft, crankshaft bearings, the main bearings, and the piston rod bearings. And if I notice that there's something bad, if the bottom end is bad, I would say just junk the engine, because if your bottom end is damaged, there's no point to do timing chain on this engine. At that point, just junk it and get another engine, because it's going to be really expensive trying to machine the block and the crankshaft, and just don't go through that headache. But luckily this one, you know, this is the aftermath. Just the rotors, this seemed to be okay, but this were broken. But since all the valves hit the piston, so I didn't want to reuse them, and I replaced the 6 valves. I didn't replace the if you're going as far as removing the valves, go ahead and clean them, seat them, and put new seals. I didn't put new seals because their seals were still good. I had new seals from my previous work, so that's it. I think that's all I needed. Just the valves and the rollers, and what else? And the timing chain. A lot of mechanics don't want to mess with these engines, so they're like, nah, you need another engine, another new engine. And what do? They go to the junkyard and get another used engine. But and the problem repeats itself, you know. So for a lot of mechanics, it's just easier to remove and replace and get it out of here and make that money. But in all reality, a lot of the times it's just timing chain and tensioners or something like this, you know. Or, you know, if it's not a catastrophic failure, you can fix these engines and they're still gonna run, and they're gonna run good, because I fixed so many of them. But enough talking. This is it, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Alright guys, I'm pretty much done with this engine, and I just want to show you the aftermath. These engines are rebuildable. These engines are fixable. You know, as long as you don't have a catastrophic failure, like your crankshaft is all chewed up, piston rods and camshafts all chewed up, broken, you know, then I would say just don't worry about it. Just junk that engine and get another one. But this is the aftermath. I had to replace these 2 valves and these 2 rocker arms because these are broken. I didn't have to replace this, but all these other valves, but I didn't feel safe, so I went ahead and changed all 6 intake valves, or all 6 rocker arms, and obviously the head gasket, because I had to remove the cylinder head. And when I first started the engine was misfiring severely, and I'm like, oh my god, I think I left something wrong. But it turns out that these 2 coils were bad. They went out, and the spark plug wasn't burning. I don't know, might be a crack in there, but it wasn't burning good. And I believe this caused, I think it started with this problem right here, and I think they just keep on driving it like that. But if you have a misfire, just go ahead and take care of that. You know, if it's just coils and plugs, take care of that. That way it won't cause major damage. I'm not sure that that's the reason why it fell. Yeah, it's no good if you're driving your car with a misfire. Also, I had to replace these two solenoids that were already leaking. So, and this is the same bank. This is one bank. All of these parts fell in one bank, bank number 2. Also, I noticed that when I drained the coolant, there was like green coolant in it, which is not the right coolant. And I noticed they were putting water into the system. So I checked for leaks, and sure enough, this cap has been leaking water. And instead of fixing the problem, they just keep adding water into the system. That's a big no-no, guys. If you suspect you have a water leak, this is a seal system, and it's not supposed to be, you're not supposed to be adding water to the system. It should be a seal system, and there's no need to drain it or put more water in it unless you're gonna do like a flush, you're gonna replace the coolant, then yeah. So anyway, this right here tells me that this car is being neglected for a while, and this is the big problem with this engines. This is why they failing. Nobody's paying attention. Nobody's doing what's supposed to be done. They get a misfire and they just keep on driving it like that. Nobody ever changed the oil on time. But I'm gonna play a clip. I'm done with the car, and I'm just gonna show you how the engine is running. Right, let me go ahead and start the engine. So there you have it. The engine is running smooth, you know, it's running smooth, no misfires. I don't have any coats. It's gonna need some spark plugs. I only replaced one because I replaced 2 coils and I had a light misfire. So I went ahead and replaced the spark plug just to make sure I wasn't chasing a ghost, you know, before I even start to tear down this engine again. So that's why I only put 1 spark plug on that cylinder that was misfiring. So now everything's clear, everything's good, no misfires, no shaking, no engine coats, so we're good to go. So if you have one of these engines, they are repairable, they are rebuildable. It does cost money, but even if you buy a junkyard engine, they're still kind of pretty high, and you're not really solving the problem. You just put in another used engine that eventually gonna have a problem if it hasn't been taken care of properly. So I hope this helped. I'll see you on the next one.